Hi teammate, my name is Ronnie Alfonso. I'm the product owner and mentor of BreazeHome 4.0 is Dr. Masoud Sajari. In this video I'm going to show how I implemented the feature or the user story 2490, which is the registration using the security question. To accomplish this, we're going to need to do some modification to the files that are listed here in this screen. In the front end, we're going to modify the index, the landing.js, the question.js, the registration HTML, the user.js. And in the backend, we're going to modify the breeze URL.py, the users view.py, the users model, and the user serializer. I'm going to be covering every file once I get to that point. Also, I would like to show the user story which is related with this video in our Mingo account. The first thing I'm going to do is to show how it is implemented in the current production version. As you can see, it is only asking the email address, which is the same as the user, and the password field with no option to see what the user has typed. Now I'm going to show my version of the registration form. It has the same fields as the production version, the email and the password. I added the option to read the password being typed by hovering the mouse over the input element. And also I added my two optional controls, a drop-down list with the security question and the answer. Now let's go to the code. First we're gonna log out, so we're gonna show the template that shows the registration form, and then we're gonna check in the URL that we are in the landing page. So now let's go to the landing HTML, which is the view that holds the form, and let's see which one is the method that's being called after the button registration is clicked. To find the HTML code, we need to go first for BreazeHome desktop, which is the front end. We go to inside the app folder, inside the views folder, and here is landing HTML. In the line 31, we can see that after the button is clicked, it will call the show registration model, which is inside the landing controller. The landing controller is the object that has the scope for everything that happened inside this template. Let's go for the landing controller, which is inside the scripts and then the controller folder. The show registration model will create a variable that will hold the email, the passwords, and the answer. And this method will call the registration model, which is the one that's going to be shown next. The registration model is located inside the folder of the views and inside the model folder. Here you can see all the variables that we injected in the templates, the registration param password and the registration params answer. And we also have the question. The question was injected in the controller, and we're gonna go over that in a few minutes. Angular offers a double binding, so it means that if in the form you change the value of the variable, it will change in the controller, and if in the controller changes the value, also it will be reflected in the form. So when you press the button here in this form, all the data collected and submitted through the post is going to be updated, and the next function that is going to be called will be register user, which is reflecting this template. So our next move is going back to landing.js and shows where questions is being injected inside the controller. Well, here is question. You can see questions is been injected calling this object question, which is indeed a service. And this question object is passed as a parameter to the name of the function. Well, what is a service? First, let's go to the service folder. The service is the one in charge of producing data to be used in the controller. Can be data from the API or from any other source. In this case, the question use data pulled from the API using a GET. It will send a GET to the backend to the URL specified in the variable. So let's check in the backend what is being done. First of all, we need to open the folder that has BreazeHome API Django. Go to the Breeze folder and open the urls.py. urls.py contains all the routes that to the views that will be serving as an endpoint in the API. The URL we are fetching is calling the question view set. The question view set is in the view file inside the user folder. Here is the question view set. The first line it declares a query set, which is a question of the object which is declared in the model file, and we're gonna go over that in a minute. And the serializer class, which is the question serializer. In the model file is where you declare all the objects that are going to be linked to the tables in the database. Django will translate all these objects in tables and all its attributes in columns. For the question table, we only need the question itself. And here is the serializer in the serializer file. The serializer is the one in charge of to translate the data in a JSON file, which is the one that's going to be sent to the front end. Now we're finishing the backend for now, and let's go back to the front end. In order for the application to know that the questions service exists, you need to register in the index. The script, the question.js is already registered. Now let's go back to where we were. I believe we was in landing. No, registration HTML. Back again in registration HTML, we can see that in line 47, after the form is submitted, it is called the register user function inside the landing.js. Then we're gonna send all the data that we have in the form to the backend, and this is done by the services that we have in user, and the function is called register. And we're gonna send to the register all the parameters that we filled out in the form. Well, let's go to the users and see what register does. Well, register does the actual bridge with the API. It make a post to the API using all the parameters that we have in the form and the payload. So let's go to the backend and see what happened there. Well, in the backend, the user is registered using the register serializer, and he added the questions, which is only the integer in the question table, the ID, and the answer. Now in the same serializer, we go down and we just find the save method, which is the one that is used to save the user in the database, and we can see that we have the question, which is pulled from the database, from the question table. The answer, it is converted lowercase and then is hashed. So the answer is stored encrypted in the database. Then further down, we create a profile and we save the user with the profile data. Well, that's all. Thanks for watching the video.